Hello, everyone. And yeah, today we're talking about something that a lot of people don't really like to talk about when you fuck up. So today the topic is we fucked up and we broke the internet. Well, for some people for a while. Briefly to tell you who we are, we've doing networking since a couple of years. We started more than a decade ago. We moved to Finland in the pandemic. We're now a Finnish company, and we speak a lot of languages. And yeah, so we run a network. We run an ISP network across Europe. We are with our team across Europe, so all of those locations have data center connectivity, backbone connectivity. So we do routing. We run our own network. Since 2014, we have become a LIR. LIR means a local internet registry. It means that you're part of one of the 5 global registries, be that RIPE, be that LACNIC, be that ARIN. We started with, hey, we want our own IP space, we want our own routing, let's put some servers there, let's have our own little stuff. It was fun. Then people came like, hey, can you put that server online? And then eventually was like, actually, I would like to have my internet in my office from myself as well. So, of course, we started doing a bit of DSL. And then it's like, now we have to buy all this capacity. We had to pay like couple thousands of bucks just for a couple of gigabits of transit. We should sell that to others. It's going to be cheaper. So we started providing IP transit. And eventually this went into something called sponsorships when students and other organizations want to do some research, be that, for example, a small IT company that's like, hey, we also need our lab equipment. And when we have our own lab equipment, we might not want to have that on the production network. So they come to us. Yeah, someone clicked the link. Congratulations.
At least it wasn't last Christmas.
So, back to the sponsorships. So again, we're trying to educate people. So if anyone in this room has ever wanted to do some BGP, some backbone routing, come to us. We do this resource sponsoring. You can get IPv6 space from us. You can get an ASN from us. We normally only give you a 32-bit ASN because 16-bit ASNs are in limited supply. And we have a lot of them. Not many. It's hundreds. It exploded when Hurricane Electric, one of the most predominant providers in this field, which gives out free resources and free transit, has been saying, I don't know, we don't do tunnels anymore. So we picked up quite a bit of slack, quite a bit of organization. So, an ASet. What's an ASet? When you run a network, when you run a BGP network, you have routes that you announce to other networks. A subnet is what you know. A subnet is a route in backbone terminology. That route belongs to a so-called outnum, an ASN in common terms. When you're an upstream provider, so you're a transit provider, you want to filter that your customer doesn't announce shit to you, because it's not 2005 anymore where Pakistan Telecom, I think, did one of the most famous route leaks when they were like, we want to block access to YouTube. Let's put into more routes to block the YouTube traffic into nowhere. But they accidentally published it globally, and then everyone believed that YouTube was hosted in Pakistan. And then Pakistan Telecom was overwhelmed with the traffic because there, of course, are not YouTube. Why we're referring to this? Well, it's one of the most famous cases where filtering was not done. So the common way to do that is a so-called ASet. It's basically, it includes our paying customers and includes our free customers. So, things we started to prevent that stuff goes wrong is like, this is an array, and this array can contain other stuff. So, no, we don't do that to free customers. We don't accept that, because people has been doing stuff like, we include our upstream providers. So suddenly you have like recursive includes. Who here believes that recursion and the recursion is a safe thing in internet routing? I think nobody. It leads to route loops. So we started doing preventive stuff. We don't accept that from free customers, so they cannot include garbage. But we have a few legacy customers. We can't change what's already been deployed. People will be angry. Stuff will break. So, hey, maybe you're a small lab network. You probably shouldn't announce 100,000 routes to us, because that's like the size of the global routing table. So we maybe set your limit to 5. Well, you can announce 1 route, maybe 2, but not 1,000, not 100,000. We still have, if we run the numbers, I checked about a week ago, 25,000 routes. The IPv6 table is at the moment 169,500 routes. So we're still like a major chunk of the global V6 internet if everyone announces their routes to us. That's scary. And one of the things for people who have run networks, if you have static filters and your client stops announcing any routes to you, but you still allow those routes through, you end up doing a redistribution. So you have a tier 1 provider. Tier 1 provider gives you a full table. And that's a customer route who's currently not your customer. You re-announce it to your other upstream provider. So you're suddenly becoming an upstream provider for a big upstream provider. That's not good. Like company like Hurricane Electric, Level 3, all those so-called tier 1 providers, you should not actually become their service provider. This is a bit of groundwork for what's going to happen now. So we have an incident. We get a phone call. Hey, we can't do phone calls anymore. It's all bad. I had to call you from my mobile phone because we don't hear and understand anyone on our VoIP calls. That's odd. We don't have that here. So on we go to investigate. This router in Frankfurt has really high CPU load. That's bad. We go on again. It's an S-flow daemon which runs wild. S-flow, for who doesn't know, is one of the standards to export traffic metadata. So this is in order to actually know what's going on in your network. You normally just gather the metadata. You don't gather the entire packets as an ISP. It's like every 2,000 packet I want to know, hey, this is traffic going on. This way, if you only get 2,000th header samples, you can extrapolate what traffic levels you have. So you know, like this customer is causing issues, or this customer is getting 500,000 packets per second. This customer is under DDoS. Maybe we should do something about it. So it's like, this software runs wild. Okay, let's kill it. Standard operation process. Process runs wild. Is it mission critical? No. Kill it. Customer's happy. Well, and then that's where the actual incident starts, because we get a ticket from a company called Salesforce.com. I don't think anyone ever used that. I don't think that's really a relevant service. And it is, subnet leak out of DKIX Munich. I think the dumpster starts smoldering here. That's how we feel. Like, there's smoke. There's something weird. Smells like smoke. So, what went wrong? So we talked to the NOC from Salesforce, and they're like, we announced them a route to Cloudflare. Hey, last time we checked, Cloudflare doesn't pay any routing bills to us. They're not a client of ours. Also, they're fairly big, so makes no sense. Also, we don't have a session with Salesforce. So we're not doing anything. Why does this go through? So with BGP, you either have a session with another network where you exchange routes. So this is also just metadata where you exchange routes, or you have a metadata mediation server. It's called a route server. A route server on an internet exchange point just facilitates that, because if you have 10 member on an IXP is just a big fancy switch, you have to maintain 100 sessions. If you have 100 members, suddenly you have to maintain across all of them 10,000 sessions. So at one point, if you have 1,000 members on IXP, it just becomes absolutely unmaintainable. So you need a route server to facilitate. Also, a route server should perform the filtering for you. So you announce your routes to the route server, everyone else knows what's available on the route servers. So there's a central point of filtering. Well, DKIX should filter that. So we send a ticket to DKIX. Hey guys, something's wrong here. Why are you guys not filtering? Well, the answer that came back was like this, because, yeah, we clearly fucked up, and that was the answer. So, sorry, we were starting to run a query on our AS set, and hey, actually, we are a client, customer. They are a customer of ours. That should not be what happened. There's a nice tool called IR Explorer from NLNOC, because if you have to search for content in an array, in an array, in an array, in an array, in a database, you're eventually going to get crazy. So this thing does that to you. And we find out that a customer of a customer of a customer of a customer claims that they are an ISP of Cloudflare. Well, that's not a good idea. So again, briefly, what's an AS set? It contains an array of objects that can be either another AS set or a bunch of ASNs. And this is here that you can generate a list of routes to filter, to say which are the legit routes that this network can announce to you, this ASN. And because there's a route object, and the route object gets searched reversely. So our AS set is garbage. That's what we know now. It's like, okay, fair enough, but we have a route from Cloudflare that has been announced to us from Hurricane Electric, and we now announce that to Cloudflare, which then doesn't work because they, to Salesforce, which then cannot announce anything anymore. So this. But we have filters for that. It's not that just our customers and the get filtered routes and our upstreams get filtered routes. Both sides have to filter. The ISP filters and the client filters. So in order to have a filter macro, which processes what you announce, because you might have different policies, you run something called a route map. Yeah, well, we only announce stuff that we tag as customer routes. This doesn't come out of a customer route, so what's wrong here? We haven't updated anything. So we also don't generate automated filter updates, because exactly kind of issues like this, where stuff blows up. Well, the dumpster fire gets bigger. So we were running a routing OS at that time, which is called ViOS, and ViOS at that version was fairly limited. I mean, if you have to save your configuration, and every time you change something, you wait 20 minutes, it's really fun, I tell you. I mean, that's more like drinking coffee or code is compiling. Everyone knows this XKCD of slacking off, no, the code is compiling. This was worse. So we've reached the configuration size where it's so bad that sometimes the config just gets corrupted, and we have to fix it underneath on the disk by hand. And exactly that's where we fucked up. So fuck up number one, client of a client of client fucked up. Safety net of ours, well, we copied this allow, deny. Oh, there's no deny here. So we allow a bunch of stuff, and then the rest also gets allowed. Well, it worked, nothing broke. You don't notice that you don't break anything. You don't notice that you don't filter out anything if you don't announce garbage, until you announce garbage and you realize that your filter doesn't work. Yeah, it's like, it's great. Well, it was done by a junior. I don't blame my junior. I wasn't doing the break myself, and I wasn't breaking it myself. I mean, but I wasn't personally doing it, so I had no idea this was repaired. And in my opinion, there's a third fuck up, how you can do a route map, because we have this route server. So what happens is this route. So to Salesforce, we announced that we're the ISP of Hurricane Electric, which is the ISP of Cloudflare. And in my opinion, a route server should start doing plausibility check, that like small ISPs are not like the service provider of a large ISP. But yeah, it hasn't worked. So yeah, for 3 layers of security, none of them worked. And also we announced a lot of routes, not just that one route. So we were like, well, we announced 100,000 routes to you. Should that shut? We have leaked every single route ever. So what happens is we send an entire table, like the entire internet routing table, to we're the upstream of the entire internet now. We're the service provider of the entire internet. Now, nobody should announce that. Nobody should tell that the route service. The route server should tell us, like, you know what, you're idiots. Session shut. That didn't happen. So we had a third fuck up. I mean, only the Salesforce route went through, but still we announced the entire internet to them. So yeah, in the meantime, it's like, okay, we really need to clean our fire. So in the meantime, this is one of the topics I'm working on, is how do you fix this, that the internet doesn't break whenever someone does a simple typo of like, oh, there's no deny. It's one line that gets lost and the internet breaks. So essentially, in my opinion, the route filtering with ASX is completely broken, which means, yes, the internet is broken. Yes, the internet works on a broken system of trust. And probably there should be some plausibility checks. I don't know how to do it. Other people don't know how to do it. There's approaches for it. And as with everything on the internet, I mean, IPv6 has not been rolled out since 24 years of age of IPv6. I would assume it takes another 10 to 15 years to fix this problem in the internet. There are approaches, PSL for who's interested in it, or historical data to start saying, hey, this network has never been an upstream of this other network, maybe that is not plausible because the service provider of Cloudflare have always been Hurricane and a few others. So this random small Swiss-Finnish company probably should not. You can do machine learning on historical data. You can do declaration of data to do that. So yeah, this is a master thesis on one of my coworkers who's also running around here to bring up proposals. But yeah, triple fail, and we broke the internet for Salesforce. And I would say this is how it felt then. So, and in order to give proper picture credit, this was found at Solita in Turku. I still love this because, yeah, everyone who has been to Turku knows what this is about. We have 5 minutes if someone has questions. Find me here, but we're anyway at the end of this day. Thank you. Okay, so the question is how long it took things to become normal again after this happened. I think the moment we found the issue, Salesforce has already filtered the route from us, so the issue has already stopped at a point in time. They have opened the ticket because they were like, you're getting the Cloudflare traffic, and that's not right. We just filter the route because they can also just say, no, we don't take Open Factory as an ISP to that. So they just blocked the path and everything went back to normal because we have a 1 gig port and Salesforce sent us 5 gigabytes of traffic. That's, by the way, why everything broke. Otherwise, it would have worked. But Salesforce has 5 gigabit of traffic to Cloudflare. I didn't know that. Now I know. More questions?